Hello, Culture Matters podcast. We are back with 30 days of thought. Today is no such thing as a millennial. No such thing as a millennial. 30 days of thought. Read to think, write to develop, listen to hear what is unsaid, and speak to let go. I am going through 30 days of thought again, and you should too, because it always helps me think more clearly so I can strategize and then sacrifice and execute at a higher level. All the success we have today is a consequence of the people we serve, the people that serve us, that help us, that grow with us, the people that have helped me level up, whether those are the authors that are no longer with us or those that are, that help me read to think, whether it's mentors in my life that help me realize the value in writing to develop, or the trials and tribulations that led to realizing how poor of a listener I was, to lean into these conversations on the Culture Matters podcast, listen to what is here, listen to what is unsaid, or speaking on stage or in these monologues, to let go, to develop. Today's excerpt is no such thing as a millennial. I'm going to read it and then share some of my thoughts as of recent, as opposed or in contrast or aligned to thoughts of the past. We're reading 30 Days of Thought, published in 2019. Here it is. No such thing as a millennial, page 62. There is no such thing as a millennial. To be born in a specific time is as irrelevant as any word dedicated to whatever meaning is chosen for it. The label always limits when the meaning is misunderstood. Whenever we cover up any topic with a label rooted in unintelligible philosophies that haven't been properly dissected, we cannot help but to cause chaos. We, the millennials, are chaos. Due to this ignorance, our human condition is under the influence of limitation through our thoughtfulness and our fates being sealed by said limitations of our own words. There is no such thing as we, the millennial. They call us young, uncaring, undisciplined, unequal, misguided, misaligned, deliberately desperate, and unconsciously enslaved by devices. The common tongue throws daggers at our motivation and fills our balloons of creativity with hatred that the masses believe will pop as they are heightened. Our apparent lack of work ethos is commonly uncommon in the past societies we have been born. Yet we sit back in silence, waiting for proof that there is, in fact, hope for our future. All fingers point to the millennial in a negative connotation in respect to our character. I say finger point away. The minds of our predecessors are full of condemnation and resentment. They resent us for who we are appearing not to be and condemn us for a world we are living in that they created. Nothing we do is enough, and whatever we speak of doing next is inevitably shut down. Our words are weak. The hearts we show have no blood flow, and to those who pass judgment, we are viewed as zombies feeding off one corpse. America, the land we have inherited, left unto us from our forefathers. Our current state of empowerment we are in with racism, bigotry, hate, and false platitudes we have been born into are not of our doing. They are of our makers, and we are just able to have the means to give in, and not for what we need or want, or for what humans do. They are wrong about us. We are not limited by our fixations on anything. Our conscience is real, raw, and true to all things human. We are not millennials. We are humans. We are but free to think, to feel, and to present. We are love. We are compassion. We are empathy. We are connected, and our global movement is that of one. We are caught up with the common norms, fear, love, self righteousness, but we will get through that and not allow the belittling and limiting with labels. We are tired, we are drained, and without hesitations in our claim, we are not millennials. We are human. We are now. We will not sit down. We will not shut up, and we will not give up. We will be heard. There is no such thing as a millennial. The big issue here is that instead of finger pointing towards the millennials, how about previous generations figure out how to lead better? That's a note. Now, clearly there are such a thing as millennials, just as there are such a thing as each generation that's labeled, in the sense that there's a reason there's a label. There are elements and factors to the environment that have influence over each generation, or at least at the very least, it's a way for us to compartmentalize and to dissect and clarify and separate in order to understand facts and figures and communicate and all the things that language does. This idea of there's no such thing as a millennial is really about self-awareness, personal responsibility, just as much as a millennial or one born within that generation would have, there'd be an individual onus to look at oneself for where one is in life, at one's standing. There is for anyone that has come before the millennium. This is more so um, a response to a theme that I hear and I've heard and I've watched and observed. Let's talk about the business culture. Let's say, there's so much truth to it. We can't find young people that want to work, or we can't find it's not the same. It's a different work environment. Winners figure out ways to win ultimately. They don't just blame and complain. They figure out solutions to problems. What I think is happening in the world as it relates to, let's say, where it's manifesting itself in the business context, is the bar is being raised in a business context. Regardless of generation, we all have more, if we're individuals seeking employment, we have options we didn't have in the past as a consequence of having information we didn't have. This podcast is an example of that. I can, on a very small budget or none at all, have a laptop, potentially financed, a Zoom at a low cost, and various low cost mediums, put this information out into the world, and you, the listener, can listen to it at low cost, if at all any. There's a infinite library in your pocket for next to free. That creates options. The spread of information creates options, even if those options are psychological, people feeling as though they have more options. So the conversation of those that are looking for employment, those conversations are changing. The general public can look up information on a company, become more informed, and in turn more aware, and in turn ask more questions, and turn that job interview right on its head, where now the employer is the one talking the whole time and answering tough questions. and unable to fully deconstruct the potential new hire right in front of them. Yeah, culture changes, people change based on information, technology, education. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe we have to, as former generations, draw on the value system of the past of what is useful, become more informed on where the world is going so that we can get the most out of the people that are coming up. Maybe what we see as entitlement in the younger generations is actually opportunity for responsibility with leadership that's capable of leading those who have are more entitled as a consequence of having more information, more potential. With that entitlement to information can come meaninglessness, can come guardedness. It would be harder to trust organizations when one's figured out many of the blind spots in them due to a quick Google search, Glassdoor review, all the potential lawsuits an organization's gotten itself into that put people's guard up. The common denominator here is all generations at the root bottom of it are comprised of individuals that could be just as addicted to social platforms, just as disincentivized to go out and strive and show up for an organization that is not respecting their dignity. As optionalities increased, as a consequence of information increasing, people's awareness increases and their questions change, their behaviors adapt. And I think we can get surprising more out of the younger generations than the younger generations of the past as a natural consequence to more energy. Energy as in idea flow and inspiration as a consequence of more information available, more ideas, more excitement, more autonomy. But it's going to take a higher level of leadership to attract that talent, engage that talent, focus that talent. And listen, this could just be some utopian vision. But what if there's a percentage chance that human beings intrinsically desire to sacrifice and labor and strive and work? They want to do it in a way that brings out the best of their human dignity, their human autonomy, their human freedom. Would you want to work for a tyrant? Or would you be glad to work with someone that inspired you and you respected and that you learned from and that gave you an opportunity to create meaning and power and value in your life? Now, maybe, okay, there could be a whole generation of people that are not motivated by the same things others have been in the past. Well, then it's our job, as if we're going to be in the free market, we're going to be business owners, it's our job to solve to the problems, not to give up on a generation, but to figure out how to create buy-in, influence, lead, persuade, inspire. That's where my life is dedicated, our team, helping cultures evolve and grow and adapt to the overwhelming change that's happening in the world. So no such thing as a millennial is about reminding us that we're all individuals. We have human needs. It's easy to pass the buck and to blame and complain. But look in the mirror and ask myself, how am I leading to inspire my team? Am I as good as I think I am? And can I be better? So there's no such thing as a millennial in the sense that the label doesn't do much to make us better if we use it to limit our own potential for action, for courageous action. figuring out how to solve to the problems that we face in employment and leadership and growth. Keep following 30 Days of Thought. Here's some of my thoughts. Page 62, 63, 30 Days of Thought. No such thing as a millennial. Keep reading to think, keep writing to develop, keep listening to Yours Unsaid, speaking to let go, filming your videos. And I will see you next time on Speak. Please leave us a review in the Culture Matters podcast.